A minimum amount of mass gives an identity visibility at a distance or at small sizes. Let's talk about it. The shapes that make up an identity should not be lightweight or thin. An identity with insubstantial or flimsy parts is ineffectual and visually feeble. All of these logos suffer from lack of mass. Some diehards will suggest that contemporary identities can break older rules in the name of being modern. Now I ask, aren't websites modern? Thin elements and lines do not display clean shapes when viewed through a grid of pixels. Far from liberating lazy designers from old constraints, the web adds new constraints of its own. I'm going to enlarge the logo in the bottom right corner. It has difficulty on the web because the lines are so thin that they have to be made up of pixels that are not fully black, even though the line is supposed to be black. That's what I call pixel mush. I propose a small experiment. For this, you will have to practice using what I called a cold eye, which means looking at things as if you had never seen them before. Ask yourself, if I did not already know what these images are, could I tell now? That's using a cold eye. Here are the same logos from the previous page shown at half size each. Now compare those designs with logos by some of the great masters of design, Paul Rand or Saul Bass or Chermayeff, Geismar, and Haviv, whose studio is still producing identities for major companies all around the globe. Please note that these logos are shown here at half the size of the previous slides. And yet, they are much more easily seen and recognized because they have mass. Now look again at the logos without mass. Can you see the problem now? By comparison, they are barely discernible, even at twice the size of the logos by the masters. They suffer from lack of mass. The problem is compounded if mid or light to mid value colors are used against a white background. Here's a different example. One large and famous New York design studio has dozens of high-profile identity designs to its credit. This is a black and white poster from the studio's own website that displays 458 logos. Many of them are good, serviceable identities, but notice how some are recessive and hard to discern because of lack of mass. This is particularly true of some of the typographic identities. If they don't have a certain minimum amount of mass, they're hard to see. They're wimpy. Note that others occupy the same space are very easy to make out. I rest my case. Please note that I did not alter this image. It is taken directly from the studio's own website, pixel for pixel. Yet it demonstrates how breaking either of these two deadly sins is indeed fatal to producing a legible identity, even if you are a famous design studio. Many observe that images on the web are at a nominal 72 pixels per inch and will not convert to print, where 300 pixels per inch is the standard. True. Others may claim that the logos shown on the previous page are so small that it is unreasonable to expect them to be legible, but some of the logos on that page are very legible in spite of their small size, while others are indistinct. Even so, to allay fears that I have cited a sample that doesn't properly apply, I also found on the same company's website many of the same logos reproduced much larger. I show them here at the larger size. The principle still holds true. Identities without mass do not project themselves as well as identities with mass. Some don't show up for other reasons, such as failing to work in black only, and some has visual difficulties for reasons that will be covered in upcoming deadly sins. This principle of needing mass also applies to typographic elements of an identity. We will come back to those issues later. Even with the same studio's logos shown bigger, those that are without mass or that need multiple values, deadly sin number 1, suffer from decreased legibility. There are many areas in graphic design where having fine lines or little masks can be very effective. But corporate identity is not one of them. A brand needs to be visible up close and at a distance, big or small, in print or online. If it fails because of lack of mass, it has failed to be an effective identity. That's why lack of mass is a deadly sin of logo design. Deadly sins of logo design 1 and 2 are done. 5 more to go. For more information, go to logodesigntheory.com. If you found this helpful, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and share this with anyone who needs to know more about logo design.